Is your small business growing? That's the question we address right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. This is the place where I interview strategic entrepreneurs who can help you navigate your niches and perfect your pitches so you can grow your business. Hi, I'm Paul Madsen, the host of the program, and this is episode number 63. And I am thrilled about that, but I'm more thrilled about my guest today, who is Blake Martin.
Hi.
Blake is the president of Fran Net of the Heartland. Got it right finally. And Blake, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, I'm so glad we finally made it happen. Blake was actually on episode number 16 back when we were not in a TV studio. So a little rougher back then, and I'm so glad he could come back because Blake has a lot of things that he can teach entrepreneurs along the way. Hey Blake, let's just jump right in. I'm going to just start out by asking you, tell us, what business are you in?
Sure. So I'm with Fran Net of the Heartland. I'm the owner and operator and president of Fran Net of the Heartland. We're a franchise consulting firm.
Okay.
So what that means is we help folks who are looking to start a business. They're not quite sure what kind of business is the right fit.
Okay.
We'll provide them free coaching and consulting on figuring out what route to entry makes the most sense.
Okay.
At the end of the day, our goal is to help folks who are trying to find more fulfillment in life. Freedom, independence, satisfaction. Our goal is to help them get there.
Well, that's a lofty goal and a worthwhile one too. You kind of answered my next question. Why are you in this business?
You know, I'm in this business because I was in the same place at one point. So I was in corporate America and working for a great company and traveling internationally. And funny thing is, they don't have Easter in China.
Okay.
So I missed my son's first two Easters.
Wow.
And decided enough with the PTO, enough with the building something for somebody else.
Right.
I want to do something that's going to benefit my family and my future.
Well, that's a significant why there. That's neat. Don't have Easter in China. How about that? That might be the title of this episode. I'm
There
not
you
sure.
go.
Well, Blake, now this is a different kind of question because, I'm wording it differently. The purpose of this show is kind of help the entrepreneurs get from zero to scratch of starting their own thing. And
Right.
You are great because you show wannabe entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs something that's up and running already.
Right.
Are there other services that do that? And if so, why is Fran Net of the Heartland different from them?
Yeah. So the short answer is sure, there's other services out there. And there's no such thing as one size fits all when it comes to entrepreneurship, right?
Absolutely.
So we're not here to tell folks that, hey, franchising is the right fit for everyone, or our service is the right fit for everyone. What we're here to tell folks is, when you're looking at starting a business and trying to make a decision about what's the right business for you, think about all of your options. Do the research, analyze the opportunities, and don't leave one option or one route to entry sitting on the table.
Okay.
So what we help folks do is build out their own personalized business model. What does the ideal business look like to them? And help them understand, should I be starting something from scratch, hanging my own shingle? Should I be exploring the world of franchising where I'm in business for myself but not by myself? Mm-hmm. Should I be talking to a business broker about existing businesses? What are the options? And what do they really look like? You know, let's break down the myths and the misconceptions so people understand which route to entry or routes to entry would make the most sense for them.
Right.
Yep, I've got competitors out there, certainly, nationally and locally. I think probably the greatest advantage that I provide to folks is I've been there and I've done that. I am a franchise owner myself, so our company, Fran Net, is a franchise system itself. We practice what we preach.
Well, there you go, yeah.
And I've built up franchise systems. I spent many years building franchise systems from the ground up. And so I believe I can offer to my clients perspective from both sides of the table, the franchisor and the franchisee. And this is my full-time gig.
Yeah, you bet. It's your business. I really know Blake fairly well, and I would echo that sentiment. I really think that you also left out one thing. Blake knows everybody. He is a very well-connected person, and that really helps too. I think it comes down to, Blake is a guy who really has walked the walk, is what it's talking about. If you're helping a potential franchise owner, well, you are a franchise, and you've been with a company that helped grow franchises like crazy. Yeah. I had a question that came up in my mind while I'm listening to you. What is the difference between what you do and a business broker?
It's a great question, actually. And in many cases, what we do complements each other rather than overlapping. So in the business brokerage world, in the true business brokerage, those are folks that are helping individuals who want to either buy or sell an existing business. An existing business is always that's already up and open and operating, and they're ready to be done with that business, or they're looking to find one that's already operating. Okay. In the franchising field, we're helping folks utilize a proven system, a proven franchise brand, and systems and models and tools to launch usually a new location within a specific geography. So somebody that wants to join a franchise system out of Chicago, and that franchise company is looking for a new Omaha office or Omaha store. That new franchise owner, that new franchisee, would be starting a new location within that proven model.
Well, and I think you said the key word, and that's proven. I mean, I work with people, help a lot of solopreneurs actually, who are just starting their own shingle, and they will want a lifestyle business always, and work it out of their home kind of thing. I help them posture themselves, navigate their niches and perfect their pitches and all that. But what you offer is a pathway to a proven thing. Right. And I like that. I hadn't thought of that maybe there's a franchise, I'm sure there is franchises out there that don't have a presence in Omaha, and maybe someone you can introduce them to, both sides. Right. Say the thing about the matchmaker part. I love that, what you talk about.
So at Fran Net of the Heartland, we are like the Match.com for local entrepreneurs.
There you go.
And the whole idea is we understand at a very deep level what makes good franchise systems really good, and what they're looking for in their ideal franchise owner. And the process that we utilize with folks who want to utilize our free services to find a business, we help build a personal business model for what their ideal business would look like. The matching comes in when we look at, well, where do we see alignment and consistency in priorities and goals between the franchise organization and the local couple or individual that is looking for a business.
Sure. Well, I love the analogy because those companies, I mean, I was a headhunter in the recruiting, placement, staffing business for decades, and what that's about is really doing exactly what you do, is really get to know the person about what they're looking for, how they fit, where their strengths are, what they're capable of. I'm sure there's times when you meet with somebody and maybe advise them against a certain kind of business almost because of their strengths, their situations. Certainly. I'm off track. As a headhunter, I really get to know them, and then I obviously get to know the client on the other end, the company that is going to potentially hire this person. And you do that. I want to have you emphasize one other part. You do that. You do all this consultation. What's the F word? Free. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it's not that we're a charity, at least
no.
But yes, the service is free to the individual that's looking for a business. And that's because our business model looks a lot like an executive recruiter for business owners.
Perfect, yeah.
So we team up with, nearly 200 franchise organizations, the best of the best, who value what we provide to them, which is helping them to find, recruit, and qualify folks who'd be a good match for their system. Okay. And when that Match.com part works appropriately and they decide to get into business together, the franchise company will pay a finder's fee to Fran Net. Right. And that just eliminates the barrier of cost for the local individual that wants to work with me.
Well, I just think that's important for people to know. Like, oh, I don't want to go to Blake and pay him a bunch of money I can find my own franchise. Well, absolutely opposite. Better to go to you because you can screen out all those bad dates. and
exactly.
the way you go with helping them to do so. So I'm a corporate guy or gal, and I worked 25, 30 years in XYZ Corporation. kicked in heavily in my 401ks, got a little profit sharing from the companies, and when I retire, I have a couple of pennies stashed away.
Yeah.
I wonder, well, what's next? I'm only 55 years old, and I certainly don't want to quit. But I don't want to start something from the ground up. You know, I've worked for a major corporation, don't really know how to do that.
Right.
What do I do? What can I, is that kind of the person you're shooting at sometimes?
Yeah. It's a very good description of the type of folks that typically come to me. They're not often folks who are saying, well, I got to get a franchise, or I want that franchise. It's more about thinking about doing something on my own. I feel like I have the experience for it, and I'm trying to explore all of my options and opportunities. And that's where we come in. Let's talk a little bit about what's important to you. What do you want to do as the owner of the business?
Okay.
What is it that you're trying to achieve with this, and what are your priorities? And that allows us to build out that customized personal business model.
Have you ever kind of discouraged someone from?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Again, there's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
And for a lot, that individual who says, I want to make all my own decisions, that's why I'm starting a business, I don't need advice or input from other people, they're probably not a good match for the franchising field, because there are rules of engagement. Not every franchise is as prescriptive as a McDonald's.
Right.
But there's rules of engagement. It needs to be somebody who values the whole being greater than the sum of its parts.
And that makes good sense, because don't start jump into a franchise if you're a total independent thinker, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I saw and I don't know if you did the movie Founder.
Oh yeah,
which is about the starting of, or not the start of McDonald's, but the spreading out of McDonald's. And when Ray Kroc started duplicating it, and he sold some franchises to his buddies. Some of them were starting to sell tacos and ice cream and other things.
Diminishing the brand.
Yes, he goes around to these other stores and like, what are you doing here? So I think there's a lot of tweaking that had to be done in those kinds of things. So a person, that doesn't have to be a lockstep person. It's a person who wants to, start a business, obviously, so they're not a job-related person. They just want to start. Franchise is a business, and so what are the benefits of? Other benefits, I guess, of starting a franchise or jumping into a franchise.
You sort of started to hit on one of them there, and that is that what has been very prevalent in franchising for a couple of decades now is the option to be a semi-absentee owner in a franchise system. And really what that boils down to, that person that's interested in a plan B or wants to start growing wealth.
I like that. Yeah.
But doesn't want to give up the paycheck, wants to stay in their job, or wants to continue with their other business interests.
So it doesn't have to be someone who's retired, and there can be an absentee owner sometimes.
Exactly. That semi-absentee is, the franchise companies get very good at building out systems and processes and tools that help you manage the managers who are running the day-to-day of the business. So you can be a semi-absentee owner. Emphasis on semi-absentee, because there's no such thing as an absentee business. But there's some very legitimate opportunities out there that fall into that category. Of course, another benefit is just the security of the franchising field. And statistically speaking, in all categories of business, franchises, small business, locally owned franchises are more likely to make it than independently owned and operated. Learn from somebody else's mistakes.
McDonald's, not that there's too many of those franchises available, is what, 50, 60, 70 years old or something like that. And so by hopefully getting some of the bugs worked out. Well, that brings us to perhaps your story. Tell us about what you did before Fran Net.
Yeah, sure. So I worked for and helped build up two separate home care companies, which is what got me into franchising. So the first was a startup home care company that we then decided to franchise. It was based in Michigan, called Comfort Care Senior Services. Still out there today. And they have locations all over the world. And then I got recruited here to Omaha, Nebraska to be
Omaha.
Old Omaha.
From Michigan, no
less.
Why'd you do that?
I was that guy that literally had never stepped foot in Omaha till I got off the plane for that first interview.
Wow, here you are.
And there I was. It wasn't corn and it wasn't flat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I of course, fell in love with the people here in the Heartland area. So. But
they recruited you as to do what for them?
To help build up the franchise system, so to add value adds and systems and processes that would help the franchise owners become more profitable and lower costs and gain more business. And it was at a time when that industry was really starting to come into its own. So got some great opportunities and had some fun interactions and learned a whole lot about not just building a business from 0 to $1 million, but $1 million to $5 million. And
right. Yeah. Wow.
Fell in love with the franchising industry as a result.
How many locations did they have when you started versus when you left?
Oh, I think we're somewhere south of 40 locations in the United States when I started. And when I left, we'd opened up in 9 countries, and we're getting close to 600 locations.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a whole different ball of wax by that time.
So that's a sales pitch in and itself. I mean, if you're looking to understand franchising and consider franchising, this guy has seen all sides of it. He runs his own franchise, but to go from 40 to, and it wasn't your company, but you were pretty involved, pretty hardworking, right?
Yeah.
And to 600 in several countries, that's amazing. I didn't realize that you worked that hard.
Yeah, well, we had a great team.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That's are they still around, based in Omaha?
Oh yeah, their global headquarters is in Exarban Village, and still churning away.
Churning away.
Yeah.
And you thought the time was right for the no Easter in China, and so the time was right for you to make the jump. Along the way, both working as developing these companies and owning your own business now, tell us about some of the speed bumps you've hit and perhaps what you've learned from that.
Well,
all in 5 minutes.
I've hit many of them for certain, and I would say to the audience out there, you're going to make mistakes, and it's all about teaming up with advisors and coaches and mentors who can help you avoid those catastrophic mistakes. So by way of example, being completely honest with yourself. Lots of folks, like myself in the early days, got really excited about the widget, the product or the service itself, and forgot to pay really close attention to what it is that I wanted the business to do for me and what I wanted my role to be as the owner of the business.
Okay.
And when I started being more honest with myself about what is it that I do want to do and what is it that I'd rather hire somebody to do.
Right.
And put a laser focus and continue to revisit what is it that I want this business to achieve for me and for my family.
Right.
When I really put a focus on those things, it helped me understand better what is it that I want to do for the rest of my life. What do I want to do when I grow up?
Right.
And what do I need to do to accomplish that? And I have seen over and over, in all different industries, if folks forget to ask themselves that question, what do I want my role to be in the business?
Good point.
The classic example is the restaurant owner who becomes a restaurant owner because they love to cook.
Yeah.
It's not a great reason to become a restaurant owner. If you're going to be a successful restaurant owner, you need to be running the business and managing the folks.
Or the bookstore owner who loves to read, right? If there is such a thing as bookstores, I guess there are.
It doesn't mean it's a bad thing that you love to read and you own a bookstore, but you have to be willing to do the other things that will help build the business.
Well, and what you said is important. What parts do I want to do in it? Because I mean, I'm not going to be the accountant or the CFO or anything like that, or the technical IT guy or anything like that for my companies. So I better get the right people on board to make that team work. And that's the nice thing about a franchise is that they know what the team needs to look like, right?
Absolutely. Been there, done that. They got the T-shirt and the shorts.
T-shirt and the shorts?
That's right.
I hadn't heard the shorts part there. That's a good one. Well, as we kind of wrap up here, tell us what, and you kind of already did, what advice you might have for, in your case, since you've started a business, for people who wanted to start their own shingle, their own solopreneur thing, and for someone, obviously considering a franchise as well.
Yeah. Well, and I'll give some non-traditional advice to the folks out there. Perfect. One piece of that would be get ready to work harder than you've ever worked. And that's why it's really important that you think about doing something as an owner of a business that you will enjoy doing, something that you will get true fulfillment out of. Even if that fulfillment is what you're building for yourself and your family. There's no shame in being a little introspective and being a little selfish about it, because the successful businesses are those who are owned by folks that not only love what they're doing, but love what it's doing for them, what it's doing for their family and for their future. So focus on getting ready to outwork all of your competition. And then focus on the skills and the experiences that you feel could lend most beneficially to the business you're in. Lastly, I would say, leave no stone unturned. Explore all the different options and opportunities for getting into business ownership. And if that means it's going to take you a little bit more time to find the right business, that's okay, because it's one of the biggest decisions you're going to make in your life.
Yeah. Sage advice. I think it's all great, and it's all
Thank you.
very on par. And coming from a guy who's seen all sides of the business world, and I think it's just go rewind that, listen to it again. It's good stuff. Blake, you have some events coming up through your organization. Tell us about that.
So we have a celebration of entrepreneurship on December 7th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. down at a local hotbed of entrepreneurial spirit, which is the Hot Shops Art Center down just by TD Ameritrade Stadium. So December 7th, 4 to 6:30 p.m., we're having a celebration of entrepreneurship and fundraiser. The fundraiser is benefiting. It's not required that you donate to attend this, but it is for optional donations. That's the word that I was trying to spit out here, for Chariots for Hope, chariotsforhope.org.
Chariots for Hope. Is that the people that give away cars?
That's right.
To people who need transportation? Yeah.
For people who have earned them.
Exactly. Yeah, good, okay.
Yeah, so it's a fundraiser. We're going to have some inspiring presenters, like Mayor David Black from Papillion, and some fun giveaways. And most of all, it's a celebration of entrepreneurship, a great networking opportunity for folks that are looking to get into business ownership or expand their business ownership.
Mm-hmm. And how do I register for that? Where do I find it?
You can go to eventbrite.com and just search Fran Net Celebration at eventbrite.com. We do ask that people register because we've got to make sure we have enough food and refreshments. And
are you going with the killer food again this year?
Yes, we are.
Oh my gosh! I went to this event last year, and you go to these charitable events sometimes, and they say light finger food or whatever, and it's there, and you nibble and you're fine, and it focuses on the conversation,
right,
and the networking and the presentation. This was more like a gourmet dinner, only standing up. I mean, I don't know. Who did you bring in for that?
We've got a secret weapon who might be a family member and a caterer. It's Acosta Catering, and they are pretty incredible.
Well, yeah, it was fantastic. So I go for that alone, and do definitely donate at Chariots
for Hope.
For Hope. Chariots for Hope is a benefactor. And you'll be the benefactor because if you're considering launching your own solopreneur thing, your own franchise, studying all options, by golly, I met several people I had never met before at your event, and continuing to network with some of them. And so it's just a great food, a great cause, and great networking as well. So I encourage you to head on out there December 7th. The registration information will be on our program here.
Thank you.
Any last thoughts, Blake, as we wrap up here as far as what a person should do? I'm going to try to summarize, I guess. The benefit of a franchise, of course, is a proven system.
Sure.
Your service is a free service. People need to consider that maybe just not only jumping in full time, but there's a semi-absentee owner option. Maybe people can keep their job. Do you have some people doing that, keeping their job and jumping and doing this?
Absolutely. And in this strong economy, in that kind of environment, I actually see more people moving into those semi-absentee opportunities over the last year and a half than the full-time owner-operators.
Yeah.
Neither of them is more right or more wrong. It's just what's the right fit for that individual, that couple.
Perfect. Well, Blake, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
You've been a great guest, a lot of wisdom there, and I hope people come out and see you on the 7th as well for that event. Good for the tummy, good for the network, good for the cause, and it'll be helpful for everybody. That's about it for this episode of the Grow Your Biz Show. Please visit growmedia.com to learn about my ability to help you coaching, again, your pitches and your niches, being able to jump out there and really grow on that side. Everybody has to have their sales pitch, right?
Absolutely.
And I love yours, the Match.com one. So Blake, thanks again, and we will see you next week on the Grow Your Biz Show.